Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports. And tonight we have a special guest, someone that went to high school with my daughter, Rosanna. And he has come a long, long way. And I, off camera, was telling him how proud I was personally as a person of color to see youth in my community, their growth. And he's one that has made a great impact on a lot of young people's lives and continues to at the highest level of Division I basketball. I'd like to welcome Mr. Terry Nuna, head coach of the Wichita Shockers.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Good to be here.
It's all good, Terry. Let's go back to kindergarten, baby boy. I want you
Mhm.
to tell our audience your story, where you went to school, talk about some of the mentors in your life,
Yeah.
and give them a real inside glimpse of who you are. And then, you know what was the really the crown in your resume that I looked at? You majored in African studies.
Yeah.
So let's, without further ado, run it down.
I think about, I'm a Kansas City kid from Missouri side. I'm Kansas City through and through. Um, I love my city. I love the town. I love being able to that's something that I really wear on my chest. Like my college teammates will tell you, like I'm Kansas City everything. So even now, Royals, Chiefs, anything that's Kansas City, like that's just what I. So when my teams lose, like they still text me and talk trash to me because they just understand how much I'm Kansas City through and through. But just love my city, just a product of a great mom, great family. Um, I think as you were saying a bunch of stuff about it, like I just think about I got so many connections in the city, and I got so many like circles that are coming a part of in the city. Whether it's I was a Church and God in Christ kid who grew up in the church, Faith Mission Church, and had a family who we was at church every single day. So you got like that group of friends. When I get it, grown, I went to church in Kansas City, Kansas at Evangelistic Center. And so Bishop Jackson Vaughn, so that's like a whole nother set of like a circle. And then you got, I went to before I got to sixth grade, let me see, let's see, elementary, kindergarten, I went to Conf Elementary, that's tore down. It's off of like 43rd and Prospect, it's tore down. First grade and second grade, I went to Graceland. Third grade, I went to Bryant and Sweeney. I also went to J.C. Nichols. I went to Voker. So I was at seven different elementary schools before I even get to Lincoln in middle school. So you got all the different people that I met at all these different in all these different schools that I went through. I went to Center. So just meeting people all over the city because we moved around a lot throughout the course of my life. Then you got those friends, you got the Lincoln people who we thought we were the smartest people in the city, and so you got the you got the people at Lincoln, and we down on 22nd and Woodland, and we in the hood, but we smart, and people don't know we smart, but I mean we the smartest. So
Y'all
you
know y'all smart.
so it's the cream of the crop of the people that was in Kansas City schools at the time that were, predominantly black. And so you got all the people that I met through there. And then I started playing basketball in the fourth grade in Raytown Little League. My cousin Reggie Middlebrook. Um, was my first coach and the first person that I started playing basketball with. So all the people that I met in Raytown Little League and coming up when I started playing, and then I started playing AAU with Tom Grant, who just recently passed, who was like a great man who started the AAU program with all of the top kids in Kansas and Missouri, and so those are a bunch of friends that I have from playing AAU, and then I moved to Raytown, 11th and 12th grade. So you got my Raytown friends, and then you got my KU friends. So that's a whole nother bucket. And you got my friends that I grew up with who hate KU but love me, but they don't like KU because our city is split between Missouri and Kansas,
No
and so
doubt.
it's
When I came here, I didn't understand that.
yeah.
Our community. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about your state at KU.
Yeah, so I mean, it was great. Like I was, my freshman year, I was a walk on the number one team in the country, um, and you see, we had pros on the team, NBA players. We had Jock Vaughn, we had Scott Pollard, we had Ryan Robertson became a pro, Paul Pierce became a pro, um, Jared Hass, who was just recently the head coach of Stanford's men's basketball. And then Drew Gooden, Nick Collison, and Kirk Heinrich, who are other pros that came on after I played, and then just all the other people that the brotherhood that we created while we was there. I think that was probably the biggest part. Like when I think about like if you go back then I think like what do I want to be as a coach, and what I think about is what I want to be as a coach is a person who could create like a in my case a sisterhood. Like I think we had a brotherhood at KU where it's across generations. So people like Wayne Simeon, who I never played a game with, he came 2 years after me, he's like a little brother, and Aaron Miles, and people before me like Danny Manning and Steve Woodbury, and all the players that
Who
played
was
before.
the greatest influence, would you say? Let's say, because you've had so many,
Yeah,
let's say,
but
give me your top three. And that does not, I'm letting you other coaches, that's not excluding you, but these are just three that Mr. Nelson is asking him to stand out. Because I have a couple of people that mentored me, and there are three or four that really made an impact.
yeah, so I would probably start with Reggie Middlebrook, who's my like I said, is my cousin. So he still runs the Missouri, like the Missouri Phenom. We kind of started that together, but he was my first coach. And really, I mean, he's a cousin, but people think he's like my uncle just because of, what he did for me as far as life and all my basketball decisions, and every big decision that I've made in my life is stuff that I kind of ran through him first, even from do you think I'm ready to get married? Do you think I need to take this job? Do you like he's been like a real like he's been a big part of everything I've done, like basketball wise, mentorship, that kind of stuff. So I would say him. Coaches, I would say Al Collins, who was my first AAU coach. We was we was called the Running Rebels, and he was more than just an AAU coach. He was we had these three rules. He's expanded them now with what I heard from kids, but every day at the end of practice, he always like he would give us these speeches, and he talked to us a lot about being a man and being an adult, and mentoring us and how to do things when we grew up. And we had oh, it was four. So, and we had these four rules that we always talked about, and the first one was like an emphasis of how you prioritize your life. So, number one was God. Number two, we would say is mom and dad. Number three is homework, which talked about education, and then four would be you. So he's added another. I can't remember what they said the new one is, but we all still like joke with each other like we know Al's rules, and so back then, you're a little kid. You're like, why we gotta say this all the time? And why are you giving us these speeches? But the repetition of him just like
Still
see,
doing it. We interviewed him with
yeah.
some bitty ball players, and he had them come on. They had that
Oh,
stuff memorized.
yeah. So we still, so him, I would say him, and then I mean, of course, I would say probably Coach Williams, college coach. I need for because my high school coach, Coach Scanlon, was like, as far as that was the first.
Was Mark your
Mark
coach?
Scanlon, yeah. So I think I mean, he never won a state title, but I think he's probably, to me, he's the best coach from Kansas City. Just thinking about, like a team that we played a team, we had no post players. So we started five guards and we were real good. Everybody's 6 foot and under. And then you got like 10 years later, he had a team with Dominique Morrison and Alden Smith and Frank. And so this team had like no point guard. So he played, so just like he could play, like he just understood how to coach and whatever talent he had, he was gonna be able to
Well,
develop and
damn,
make him.
that wasn't his brother a coach, his son a
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, his brother was a coach, and so when I got to Raytown, I realized just like how much about the game that I didn't know, and just the way he was like I wouldn't have been prepared to go to college if I hadn't went and played for him. So I always give him kudos, and he's like a coach too. That's always like amongst our players, like he's still involved in our lives, and like he still wants to be there for major moments. And like he was at my senior day at KU, sitting behind the bench, and um, would come watch me practice, and was still just like check in on me and how's the family. And so, um, him and Coach Williams, I would just say just those things, and just the way they wanted to be a family and promised they'll be a part of your life so far after basketball. So they weren't just basketball coaches. I would say all these people that I named, there's more than just basketball, but those are like the basketball people.
All right, so this is remember I pointed out the African studies
Uh-huh.
earlier. Uh, Cascade feels it represents the uh, minority community in sports,
Mhm.
and I want to ask you, how important do you feel those mentors were uh, to you, and looking at what's happening right now
Mhm.
in the sport, and especially in our community, and most of your generation, and surely my generation, didn't have anything, and through sports we were able to get an education and what have you. But uh, back then you had two parent homes to a degree, and you had a lot of guidance.
Mhm.
How important do you think that is in the success of these young athletes coming up?
I think it's important to have people that I mean, I think it's important just to have people that look like you that are successful. Um, I was lucky enough. So my dad, he wasn't in my house growing up, but I had a good stepdad that was there for the majority of like my younger life. But then my dad, once I got older, like me and him got super duper close. So it kind of made up for the time that he wasn't there. But I think even though I didn't have him in the home, like like I always had great coaches who were always gonna be feeding to me and was gonna pour into me and was gonna mentor me and was give me rides when I needed rides to practice and help me get food. And so I had all these people along the way that were, just kind of like took those pieces of not having my actual dad in the house. So I think that's super important for people just to see positive role models that aren't just like it's like media only shows us athletes and they shows us like it shows people in music, but I think it's important for us to see like regular, like regular people, regular.
Regular people. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and so like when I graduated, like I taught at Southeast High School, fresh out of college, and I was taught in special ed classes, and like I was just amazed that like it was like questions you would get from kids. Like I was 23-year-old, and they'd be like, "You don't got no kids, and you don't," and so but it was like foreign to them that I'm a didn't have no kids, but regular, but successful, and great personality, and still want to help them and not want nothing from them. And so it was like because the people they were seeing was people in the neighborhood where there's and people probably wasn't doing the right things, and so I think that was a big part of me, like even being in those buildings, that they could see somebody that they could relate to.
To me, key, you mentioned this, but you just glossed over it. You said, and not want nothing from them.
Yeah.
Because to where everything is now, and especially if you are playing sports and anywhere have any talent,
Hmm.
everybody wants you for what they can use you for. And that's why I was saying about your mentors, how important to have real people that are there, whether you were playing or not playing, that you discuss real life issues with, that you respect. Because
Yeah.
Mr. Nelson don't respect a lot of people. I say that right off the bat because they don't deserve it.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, no, I mean that's the key. Like, I mean, it's like even like I think about I mean, so you talk about like a lot in the African American and with our people, like it's a lot of split homes, and you got, especially it's not really a lot of black males, or I would say is that aren't in the home. So even, like when I was like my students, like even for young women when I was teaching to see like you got a young black male that's teaching in school that's not trying to like or trying to get them from you trying to like I'm just so they could just see something different that they haven't really seen a lot of. And so I really take that on more than my coaching. Like I truly feel like coaching for me is like my form of a ministry. Like I'm not on a pulpit, I'm not like that type, but I feel like God put me here to like impact people's lives, and so like I do it through the game of basketball and the lessons that I teach, and so my players get to see me with it, like they see. Just yesterday we had practice, and my wife was there at the practice, and my kids came to the practice, and they're around, and they see us hug each other, and they see like just like a good family union. And I think that's important for people to see, and it's not like it's not glamorous, and it ain't
It's
nothing that
not
I'm
for show. It's not for the
it's no it's
Kodak
just
moment. It's
it's just like it's just what I am. It's what I am. It's who I am, and and so like I feel like it's I'm here to like impact these people's lives the same way that, and I'm sure they get sick of hearing me saying the same stuff like I was with Al or all my different coaches. But I know if you continue to pour into people, whether they're with me for a year, whether they're with me for 2 years, 4 years, like I'm gonna have an impact on them, and that's what I take pride in.
all right. Tell our audience a little bit. You were telling your story, but I got you. So I want to I want to squeeze every bit of information out of from the moment you started coaching Division 1. Let's say,
Um,
how has the athletes changed mentally and with all these rules and regulations and all this money coming into the sport?
I just
You
think
got
it's
to say.
different. Like I think it's like we living in a time where I mean the players are empowered. I mean, you kind of seen this started from like the NBA levels. I mean, a lot of people credit LeBron James for the player empowerment level. And so I mean things are just different now. So I think it's about being able to adjust and kind of pivot. Like I was a student athlete once. I understand like what they going through, what they deal with on a daily basis, and how hard it can be at different times. And so it's just a different time, like I didn't have to play with social media and people commenting and making judgments on every little thing I did, every picture I posted, every press conference that I was in. Like, it was more we had the newspaper people that we talked to after the games, and you got quotes and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like 24/7 access to people.
That's a
Um,
lot of pressure on them.
yeah, like I mean I feel like it is. But
And what about the academic? Speak on the academic side also, if you can.
yeah, but I know like I like thinking from my mindset, I would say it would be pressure, but then I think it's different because they grew up in it. It's not like an old person like me and having to go back and try to adapt. Like I gotta adapt, but this is like they grew up with.
Normal for them.
Yeah, this is like this is their norms. Like my kids can do stuff with the iPads and the computers and the video games, and I can't even play the video games with them because it's too many buttons now. And I used to love to play the video games, but and they just catch on to it so quick. But it's just a different time, and I think the people who can adjust and pivot because times are gonna change, and so it's like who can adjust and pivot, and the people that can pivot and adjust and understand what they're like, and so I mean these people grew up and they had to these kids had to have COVID where, so they had to go through school like on computers and stuff and online classes. And I'm like, dang, like I was social. Like I wanted to be in the class with the people and laugh and joke and bump and talk. And like a lot of these kids, like you can get a master's degree and not ever have to go into a classroom one time. And it's all online and discussion boards and all this different stuff. So it's just a different era, but I think I just like kind of embrace it.
What did you learn about the political side of coaching? and go from the first school because the politics in the universities and so forth. Now I want you to speak to coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just that stuff is just part of like what life is. It's a lot of, I mean, America, I mean, our world has been that way, isn't it? It's not about, people say it's not who you know, it's more about like who knows you. And so I think about like my first job, like I was just an AAU coach. I was coaching my team. We was taking my team around on different visits, and I always give this lady so much credit, Missy Tiber, who was the first lady that hired me from being an AAU coach. And she had lost the coach. We were about to take my team to just down to the schools just to visit the school because one of my players
What
was
school
already
was this?
Southern Illinois.
All right.
And so we was gonna take, we had a player that was committed there, Asia Washington. We were gonna take our rest of our team just to kind of just see the school. And a few days before we were about to go, her recruiting coordinator, which is a person I'm very close to now, like took another job. And so she just kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Or y'all still gonna come? And so this is back to my cousin Reggie. So she's on the phone with him trying to see, are you gonna bring the team still and this different stuff? And it's late and I don't know what to do about a coach because it was like May or early June. And I don't know what to do about a coach. Everybody's hired. And so he just throws out, well, what you think about Terry? Like he didn't even talk to me about it. And she says, you know, Terry would consider coaching. And he was just like, yeah. And so she was
Okay,
like,
coach.
yeah, she was like, so he was being my agent. So she was like, well, can you give me his resume? And for some reason, some weeks before, because his wife does like she's good at resumes. So she had my resume. So he kind of had it already. So he just gets it to her. Me and her on the phone the next day, just kind of having conversation. I was working at an elementary school. I was doing bus duty while I'm talking on the phone to the coach. And we go down there that weekend and we have some conversations and I meet the athletic director and she just hired me. And so,
How much difference did that make in your financial environment?
with that first one, I think I was only making, I mean, I was only making like my first job was like 30 something thousand, but I didn't care. I did
Right.
like I was just like at that point, you gonna hire me? Like she called Danny Manning and she called Steve Woodbury and she called Neil Doherty, who was one of my assistants at the time. That was like on my reference list, and they were calling me like, man, I think this lady really gonna hire you.
I love
So,
it.
and so what they told her, and this is how I've been able to move up. They all said in this tour, this been my like they said he's gonna be consistent every day. He's gonna have a great attitude. He's gonna work hard, and anything you teach him, he gonna be able to pick it up and learn it quick. And he has great character. And so that's what she took a chance on, and that's really been the things that I've used in my foundation as I've moved up because I've been in all these different places. I've coached at all.
Name your next one. Let's keep it moving.
I
What?
went from I went from Southern Illinois to Kansas for the first time, which was in 2012, 2013. We went to Sweet 16. I worked for Bonnie Henriksen, who was just a juggernaut of like a X's and O's basketball. Like she's a genius. And so she taught me about hard work and recruiting and just like digging in and being up late at night and watching film and like getting your stuff done and no excuses. So we went to the Sweet 16 and got to the end of that year, and I got hired by Christy Curry at Alabama. And so I go to Christy Curry, Alabama, and she's like a big like family person. Like her daughters was in like fourth and seventh grade at the time. And so I had my daughter Taryn now, she wasn't even one yet. So when we got down there, so I just had my daughter. And so she was just big on like building community with the team. And we would run community service every year and we would practice in the morning so we can be with our families at night. And I got to meet all the people in the South, so all the guys in Atlanta and all the people in Florida and Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. So I got all those connections. Like I had never even been in that area before and just got to see Alabama football up close and personal and sit in recruiting talks with Nick Saban talking to our kids and selling the school. And so I go from there to Maryland. So I was in the DMV in College Park and I had never been out there east. And
That's
so
where I moved here from Laurel.
yeah, okay. So I lived in Hanover. which is
Oh,
like right next to
right,
Laura.
right.
Right, the Laura was the place I was looking at. So I had to take the, I don't know what the number, but it was the
Baltimore Parkway.
Park. I
Baltimore
take the Parkway, take
Turnpike.
the
Yeah.
Parkway down to school every morning to work. Some days it'd be crazy, some days it wouldn't. And but so I got to be out there with Brenda Freeze and coach WNBA players for the first time in my career. And Brenda was just so big on how we did the recruiting and how everybody was a part of it. It was no like my recruit versus your recruit. Like we recruited everybody, and she taught me about just the mental parts of the game and how the kids, no matter how good they are, if they're not mentally ready and locked in the game, like they won't play as good. So and just energy and so she was just so big on that stuff.
How
And
important did each one of those experience, those coaches, and did they emphasize character about
yeah,
players?
yeah, like especially like Brenda would brag. Like my first year there, I think we had five. Let's see, Melina, Bree Jones, Kristen Confroy. We had one, so we had four, three that started. We had three people that started that was pre-med kids, and we were still like in the top five in the country. But so she would brag. One thing she would brag about is that she can go to sleep at night and turn her phone off because she know our kids wouldn't go be doing nothing crazy. We didn't have to deal with people missing classes or like studying and not getting like they just like them was the kind of kids
See,
that
when
she
I left Maryland, Len Bias went down.
uh yeah.
Lefty was coaching back in them days.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I mean, she was big on the character, and so she was like recruiting high character kids that were really good was like her thing. And so I went from there to the NBA with Ty Lue to the Cavs.
How was
Um,
that experience?
that was awesome. Just
By him even being from this
yeah.
area,
So
also.
it was so you got. I mean, he's my best friend. He was the best man in my wedding. Um, I mean, I mean, he had to stretch his senior year where he lived in my house. Like we got in trouble and had this. So my mom had five of us by herself. Like he over there eating with us every day. We catch the bus like we was like in high school. Me and him was together all day, every day. Like in between every class. Soon as we get out of school, if we didn't play ball, we was at each other's house all night. When he stayed with us, we stayed together. We our people at Raytown don't know, but we like shared a tub. we so we so when we had to go to the prom, he was a senior, I was a junior. So my Raytown people, they go get this information.
I love it.
So, so
Holly, but that's Holly, we make it work. That's what I'm talking about. This African American deal, no
yeah,
matter what it is, we're gonna
so
make it work.
So we so how it worked out was so Lincoln's prom was on Friday, Raytown's was on Saturday. So I didn't go to Raytown's prom. And so my mom she got us it was this white and black tux, and then I had my uncle had these nice black and white shoes. And so I wore that mug Friday nights. I went to Lincoln prom, wore it. Uh got home that like did all the stuff, and then the next day he came and got it and he wore it to Raytown's prom Saturday night, and we turned it in. He turned it in on Sunday. But that's like a funny story we talk about, especially like looking to where he is, like where we are now, and like the fact that we had to do that for like the prom and just where we came from. And that's why he was like super duper close with my mom before she passed in 2007, because she really like looked out for us. Like I
Every
didn't have
son, when they start moving in with you,
yeah,
that's your son and that's your brother uh,
yeah.
from another mother.
Yeah, like we would have to, because I didn't have a license until I didn't get my license until I was about to go to the prom, and so and so my mom had her car, so if we was going on dates, he would be driving my mama's car for us to like do whatever we did date wise, or going to see girls, or going to parties, or whatever we did. Like we had a little color Sierra, the roof was coming down, we had to like hold it hold it
Yo,
up.
you're balling out of control. Look at
Uh-huh.
me, people.
Yep. And so every time he would come back to Kansas City, he would go by the house and he would be like sneaking, and like my mom might be washing dishes and he would slide a couple $1,000s in her pocket, and Anytime she need anything, she would just call him. Like he really like took care of her. But to be able to coach with him, it was that background. But then just to see like how good of a coach he
Was
was.
Drew there when you was there?
Yep, uh-huh. LD was there. Yep, uh-huh.
What was
Yep.
that? See, because all y'all come from around here, and
Yeah.
I'm old enough to have seen y'all come up.
Yeah, so Larry Drew was because Larry Drew was the assistant coach with the Lakers when Teron first got in the league, and so that was like his, like his mentor. Like he taught Teron how to play, how to be a pro, and so the fact of you go all the way back to like now he's on the staff. We got the Kansas City connection with all of us, and so for me it was just a chance to learn and see how it's done at the highest level. And we wasn't good, but we I had so much I had so much fun just
See,
just
that was
doing it.
Stevie Burks's man.
Yep.
Uh,
I went out to eat a few right after I got hired, me, Teron, Stevie and Stevie Burks and LD, we all went out to dinner like the night I got hired.
and for you don't know, audience, his son is Alex Burke.
Burks. Yep.
Did
Yep.
run a little bit about that boy down, cause another one out of Kansas City.
Yeah, Alec is. I mean, when I seen him in high school, I was calling Teron. I was like, man, this dude is one of the best guards like I done seen from the city from the time when from me playing through coming back and being around high school ball and seeing people play. I mean, he played the point kind of for him at 6'5" in high school. You couldn't stop him. And at the year when he played, I was kind of helping. I was teaching at Raytown, so I was back kind of helping Coach Scanlon. And just to see how good he was, and then to see him like he's still playing, like he's probably had one of the longest careers of
I
players
didn't
from.
understand when the Knicks got him and
Yeah,
they made that run. I was real proud because
yeah,
Diamond Warren and myself were business partners at that time, and he was very instrumental in Stevie. That's how I wound up. Stevie lived in our neighborhood, Sheridan. Wound up knowing all about Larry because Larry and him was like this and
yep,
more
they are.
Moon.
Uh-huh, yep, yep. And so that was good, and it was cool because when I left, part of why I went to the NBA is because I felt like it was go help me in my goal to be a head coach, and I felt like that was just something extra on my resume to be able to say that you coached in the NBA. And so part of it, when I talked to Ty about it, I told him I would only take the job if he would let me come back. So in the summers, then I would go back to Missouri Phenom and like helping coach the team or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I could still be connected to like the women's game because I truly felt in my heart like this is where I was supposed to be. So I coached with him that year. That summer, I coached with the Missouri Phenom, but then he got let go that year. So it was like trying to figure out what your next steps was gonna be. And I was just gonna come back because I had a good contract that they had paid me. So I was just gonna come back to Kansas City for a year and just kind of figure out it after that. And literally, like my whole house was boxed up. We had found a place. We had movers coming in like 4 days before I was about to move. Coach Karen Aston, who was the head coach at Texas with their women's team, called and offered me a job to come to Texas. So I go to Texas. So I was able to get back in the women's game. I go to Texas. Um, and actually, before that, Coach Brandon at Kansas had called and offered me a job while I was still kind of in limbo, but I didn't take it because at the time he had got offered the Lakers job, and so I was gonna be going to LA was the plan, but then negotiations broke down, and so he ended up not taking the job, and so then I later in that summer taking the Texas job. So I go down there for a year. I do a great job with Coach Karen Ashton, and I get all the Texas connections and people in administration that I'm still pretty close with that I talk to down there. I went there for a year and then they didn't renew her contract and that went right into COVID. And then Coach Brandon at Kansas called me to come back to be on this staff again in Kansas. And at that point, it was a bunch of people had reached out to me. But I just felt like it was time. Like at that point, I had 3 kids. So when I left Kansas the first time, I only had one, and I felt like it was time for my kids to come home and be closer to their family. And my
Know
dad
their
was
cousins and all of that.
yeah, because I mean, like my little brother got 12 kids. Tanisha, my sister, got two, and then my other little sister got 3 kids, and so it was like they growing up not and I grew up with 40 cousins. So I know so I was like, man, I'm cheating my kids out of like what made me who I am.
And it wasn't the internet. It was that
Yeah,
personal contact.
yeah. We was close. Like we would be in my grandmother and great grandmother's houses all summer. So we all are still close. So that's why I decided to come back to Kansas and try to figure out how I can help him get the program built back up because I knew he was a great coach. We were good friends. And so I was there for 3 years. I helped him get the program back built up. And then this opportunity came for me. And it was really kind of crazy. So my dad was in the nursing home. He was kind of on his last days. And so one day, me and my sister Tanisha, we go up like to visit him and he's just kind of like drugged up, kind of like out of it, in and out of like consciousness. So one day, I would stand over him, I would be like, "Do you know who I am?" And so this one day, like he was kind of loopy, and he like opens his eyes and locks into me. Me and Tanisha was there, and he said, "You about to have your own. You about to be the big dog. You about to get a new house." So he's like telling me all this stuff, and me and her was like, what? And so I'm thinking like I don't know these like there's no jobs that
Where's
was
he
even
coming from?
yeah, no jobs are open. This was a Tuesday. And so she wrote it down in a note. So it's like I kept it in my notes on my phone. The very next Tuesday, the lady that was coaching here resigned out of nowhere and decided to take another job. So that job comes open. This was like a job that I had told my boss at Kansas that I would want if it came open. Like I wouldn't leave for an assistant coaching job. It would be a head coaching job. Job comes open Tuesday. A search firm reaches out to me. Like they're reaching out to me all day on Wednesday, but I'm up there. I'm in the nurse home. I'm with my dad. And so finally I get with him and I tell him, my dad's on his deathbed, but yeah, I would love to be involved in the job. And so um they give me an interview. So I have an interview with him with my athletic director and his number two on Thursday. So my dad is still kind of in and out of it, but we thinking it's about to be getting to the end. So any phone call, like you just kind of worried. And so I do my first interview with them, and I really didn't think I really did that good. It was a Thursday. Just didn't feel like I had my normal personality and that, like my energy. And but they knew what I was going through also. Like the search firm made sure they knew. And so I was just like, man, I just hope I can get another shot. And so I leave, get finished with the interview. It was a Zoom, drive up to Kansas City, get up there about noon. Me and my sisters up there till like 4:30, spending time with them. Then I leave to go back home. And by the time I got home, the nurses called and said he passed like that day.
Mm.
And so it was like,
So he didn't get a chance to actually see.
didn't know. Nah, but it was like he's
He had already seen
yeah.
it.
And so it was like, but it was a weird kind of like it just kind of like because
And
he was
man, the universe is you
yeah.
don't know. And as you say, he in and out, and premonition is a
Yeah,
lot also.
yep. And so it was like it was sad, but then it was like a burden off of me because he wasn't in pain no more. And so that next day they reached back out to me and said I made it to the second round. Can I do another interview on Saturday? They had reached out to my head coach and they told him that it was gonna be probably like a week or two process as they like narrowed down names. So Saturday I was like locked in. I was back. Like I felt like I was
I'm
normal.
I'm back now.
So we get finished with that one, and my AD was like, I know like this ain't really normal, but like Terry, like I don't know what your schedule is. Are you free tomorrow, which is like Sunday? Like I want to get you on the phone so you can meet the president of the school. And so I'm still not knowing. I'm like, yeah, sure. So we have a Zoom with the president, me and the AD, and we talk about different stuff. He talks to me about the school. And then when I get finished, my athletic director offered me the job. So it was like a quick process. He was like, I just think you my guy. I think you ready. Roy Williams was one of the people that had like reached out to him for me. He knew that I was going for the job. Um and so on that Monday, like it came out that, like that I got hired and
Who
I had
else
to
did they ever tell you who was in contention?
nope. I don't know.
All right. This next question, we wrap it now.
Yeah.
How important has your wife been in your success? Talk to
Shoot, man, like I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for her. So like at my press conference, so I got to talk. Like I didn't do like a prearranged speech. Like I just got up there. I was like, man, I'm just gonna speak from my heart, just say how I feel. I didn't have no notes and thanking people. And so when I got to thanking different people, like I got to her and I start crying like real hard and just talked about how important she's been to me and her that first job. We kind of had to be separated for a little bit, but she was like, baby, you gotta, it's your shot. Like, just go take it. Um, and then during that job is when we got pregnant with my first daughter. And so she was a teacher. So she hasn't worked since I started coaching. But she's just been, I mean, like my anchor, like she like it's times where I'm going through like rough patches. I haven't told her. Like it's times I woke up in the middle of the night and she got her hand like praying for me, like in the middle of the night. Like she just knows me and like understands me. I can be like I don't have to be like the public figure like Terry Noonan. Like I can just be her me. I can be vulnerable. I can be a husband. Like she understands my lifestyle, so it's not like I'll be traveling or not like extra stress or she trusts me wholeheartedly. And so I wouldn't be able to do my job if it wasn't for her and what she does with the family and takes care of the kids and takes care of the house where like I always tell her this is like my biggest compliment I can give her. I'll be like, baby, like what I like coming home. And she's like first she didn't really understand it.
it's not
So
a chore, boy.
yeah, I was like, I know a bunch of people do like they don't want to go, like they'll work 4 jobs before they go home. And I was like, me, like when I come home, like my home is like my peace. Like you create the atmosphere. Like when I can come home, like I've gotten stories from the kids where we done lost a bad game and they done snitched and like she told them, don't be asking about the game when he get home. Like and so but she just understands like who I am and what I need and when I need it and when I'm
No, I
quiet.
did that.
Yeah, like don't bring it up. Don't bring up the game. Like just give him a hug when he come in. And so she's just been my rock. But one thing she told one day I called her, um, she was like, I was looking at her and she, you see somebody and they like smiling all at their phone and like blushing and stuff. And I'm like, what you looking at? And she says, I'm just looking at this interview with you crying, talking about me. And I was like, oh, but and my kids told me that was the first time they ever seen me cry before. Um, so I was, just being vulnerable, but for real, for her, like I know like all my friends like they love her. Ty Lue at my at my wedding, he says a statement. He was like, "This one of the first marriages that I actually think that people should be married." So like my friends like they love her and like she still lets me be a friend. Like she's not just because he's in the NBA. Like I can't go hang out with him sometime. Like this year we had did all this recruiting and we had to sign like 9 kids, and so I was just kind of like I was just exhausted, but happy that with the team that we had signed. And so I was like talking to her, and I was like, she was like, how you feeling? I was like, man, I am just like, I'm tired. I don't know what it is. Like, and she was like, you probably need to go out to Vegas and go hang out with T. Lou. And I was like, what? She was like, now you ain't gonna get no rest, but I think it'll be good for you.
Mentally.
Yeah. And so I went out. So, like I went out and hung with them 3, 4, 5 days, and because we don't party and stuff. We don't
Right,
drink.
right.
He just likes to talk.
Fellowship.
Yeah, but it was just us hanging out, talking basketball, laughing. Went to some WNBA games and comedy shows, um, and so like she knows me and who I am, and any area that she know like I'm weak in, just being able to help strengthen
It's
me. Or
all good. She got your back. Now let's move on to uh I talked a little bit about the political situation, but how
yeah,
important is it for you to have good administration behind you and having your student body in the gym? Run that
it's
down.
It's huge. I mean, you want to like I'm happy like I was my athletic directors, I was his second hire in like his second year here. And so I just think you gotta. So I think you just he has like his process and he understands like culture and leadership and that it was gonna take a process. And so like I don't have a person who's like you need to win 30 games your first season. Like he understood like it was like a bit.
That's what they tell you.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying in general, coaching. I
Like a
don't know anything
no,
about that,
I
and
think a
I
lot of
doubt whether my audience knows anything about
I think
that
a lot of
process.
times if you're not like the coach that the athletic director hired, it can be like different kind of expectations put up because I mean they want to hire their own people. They want to be have their people have the success that they hired and that kind of stuff. And I think that's probably like more of like a part of it, not in like a negative way, but and so you really want to work for somebody, especially me being a first year head coach, like my coach she's at UTSA now, who I work for at Texas, and she's like a big time mentor and checks on me and stuff. Even though we have to go against each other, and she told me you really want to have an AD that wants you, and so like that's I think that's super important. It's just like not the extra pressure and like him just taking the time, like he really like mentors me, not as like a basketball coach because like he's big on like leadership and like culture and so like he's so good at building cultures and so like I've gotten a lot of training and one-on-one meetings with him just from culture and leadership and which has been invaluable for me as like a young head coach. So it's huge just to have that kind of support, to have the kind of support that I have from from our fans and from our student body that want me to be here in the community and I mean, like my church, like they've had days where my church comes, like they'll bring a whole group of people to the games, or like the the black fraternities and sororities. Like we've had Delta Day, we've had AKA Day, we've had and they like they come out and
What
like
about
support.
Kappa Day? That's what I am. That's all I'm interested
You know
in.
what I'm saying? But now I mean, we got the cap, like they come, like if it's like a day with the frat, like they there, and
Right,
so like
right,
we
right.
like really in with like with them, and so and it's not just them. Like last year, I went like I spoke to all the different, you know,
Fraternities and sororities.
attorneys and like and no, not just the black, like all of them. Like
Right, right, right.
I went to like some of their like executive meetings to talk to people, and so I think we got a really great group of supporters down here, and they love basketball, which is good for me.
All right. In closing out, uh, what would you have to say to our community? Oh no, I didn't want to close yet. Getting old, forgetting my. I want to close out, but I want to know your record from your first season to where you're at now, and tell the audience what we're looking for this season. Run it down.
I don't know the exact record. I know we
Well,
only won,
you know how.
but I know
Run down what you felt happened your first season,
yeah.
and where you're at on the chart 1 to 10. Where you started off 1 to 10,
Okay,
and
that's
where
good.
you're at now 1 to 10.
So I know we've won 10 games both seasons. We finished about I think we finished 10th place in the league both years, which is it's okay because we both years we were picked to finish lower than what they picked.
And the other thing, are the people playing for you people that you recruited,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
did you inherit?
Yeah, but my first year, I really inherited like them ladies. Like I didn't when I took the job, like I didn't kick nobody off the team. So like I kept everybody that we had, and then I added like some pieces in. And I like them kids. Like I love those kids that I had. Like they gave me everything they had. We had a few injuries with a couple of our players, which kind of derailed us. But they gave me everything they had. They listened. They let me push them real hard. Like we still got group texts and stuff with a bunch of those players that first year. My second year team, still great close relationships with them. Our chemistry probably wasn't as good that year, but this year has been like something that we've really been focused on. The biggest thing I say, like I got a deal on my I got like a bookshelf that got pictures on it. So I've
Can you
had
turn your what's the name towards it?
yeah, I'll show it to you. Let me see. It's it's
Yeah.
the one by the number one. So all those I've had 14 people that have graduated since I've been here. into
That's
the
hold it. That's the deal.
yes, so
Cascade
that's
Sports is home of the student athlete.
yeah.
Uh,
We've had 14. This year we'll have shoot because we got older kids. We probably go have 8 or 9 more people that's gonna graduate. So we graduating kids. We've set the last year we set the all-time highest GPA in the history of the program, and the second semester year was the third all-time highest. So we've like we killing in the like we I don't play about no grades.
that hey that's what's happening. Who I have to give some props to Leon Dixon, who is co-founder of Du Bois Learning Center. When I
Uh-huh.
first started Cascade Sports in '08, Leon was saying, Carlos, what are you talking about? How are you going to have sports without no education?
Mhm.
And that's when our motto was Cascade Sports, home of the student athlete. And he explained to me all the people that have gotten scholarships to play sports, they're
Mhm.
not going to the pros, but that education has allowed them to be able to get jobs that are taking care of their families and blah, blah, blah. And one needs to understand that as an athlete and as a student.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't play. I got of them 14, I got two of them got their MBAs. Let me see, the rest of them are just bachelors. Yeah, the rest of them, I'm looking at the board. The rest of them is just bachelors. But yeah, I got two MBA students. So I should have probably at the end of this year, probably at least 3 more like master people getting masters. So when they come to grades, you got to be sitting on the first 2 rows. You can't miss no assignments. You can't be late for no classes. Like I don't be playing. It's consequences and repercussions if you mess that
But
stuff up.
having that as a base, which it took you 20 years
Mhm.
to not just hear that, understand what those words mean and
Yep.
how critical that can be if you're living by certain principles,
Yeah.
even in the darkest of times, that
Mhm.
can help you go to the next level.
Yeah, like and that stuff is big. Like I recruit kids. Like we talk about, like our core values is, and it spells out the word care. So it's character, accountability, respect, and effort. And so I recruit people that's go fit. Like if you don't got high character, you can't play for me. If you don't work hard and want to be held accountable, you can't play. If you can't respect people and respect the janitors and respect the managers, if you don't respect people, you can't play for me. If you don't work hard, you can't play for me. So like we really locked in on that.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show. And what I
Yes,
want to
sir.
say to all you chumps out there think Cascade Sports is soft, we go hard in the paint, baby.
Yes, sir.
We go hard in the paint.
Yep.
Good night.